Legal theory is quiet. It lives in pristine courtrooms and bound treaties. But that quiet theory is easily shattered by the violent reality of kinetic military strikes. After the Second World War, global leaders built an intricate system of international law. The operating assumption was that diplomacy and legal tribunals could successfully deter total war by holding state actors accountable. By 2026, that system collapsed. The guardrails failed, leaving a global power vacuum filled exclusively by unconstrained military force. For 2 decades, the International Criminal Court in The Hague stood as the apex of global diplomatic and legal deterrence. Then, the world's major powers turned against it. The United States and Russia simultaneously imposed crippling sanctions on the ICC's chief prosecutor and judges, deliberately cutting off their access to global banking, email, and travel. This chart tracks the court's operating budget, showing a massive €74 million deficit that paralyzed the institution's basic functions. This financial hemorrhage is compounded by political collapse. Member states across 3 continents, including Hungary, Mali, and Venezuela, actively revoked their participation, walking away entirely. With the global referee bankrupted, sanctioned, and abandoned, superpowers operate without the threat of international prosecution. We can see this unrestrained reality playing out in the Middle East right now, through the U.S. military's Operation Epic Fury. In a single 24-hour window, the United States launched over 100 aircraft from regional land bases and carrier strike groups to bombard Iranian targets. The objective was laser-focused. Using standoff weapons, which are long-range missiles launched from a safe distance to evade defensive fire, American forces systematically dismantled Iranian command and control facilities alongside their air defense networks. This bombardment achieved its primary geopolitical objective, the confirmed death of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The U.S. Department of War explicitly framed this as an America First operation. There was no UN mandate, no international coalition building, and no diplomatic preamble. Operation Epic Fury sets a clear precedent. Superpowers will execute regime-decapitating strikes without seeking international legal permission. With Iran's infrastructure burning, the regional proxy network lost its strategic safety net. Hezbollah, stripped of its primary backer, was forced to act. The organization launched its own counter-campaign, Operation Roaring Lion. Secretary General Naim Qassem framed the escalation as a desperate war for the organization's own survival against Israel. Hezbollah deployed its full remaining arsenal, launching daily barrages of ballistic missiles and UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles used as attack drones, deep into Israeli civilian territory. On the Israeli home front, emergency services deal with mass civilian casualties, while the military attempts to completely disarm Hezbollah across the northern border. In a world without diplomatic guardrails, proxy forces and regional militaries rely entirely on total kinetic warfare to ensure their survival. The Lebanese government attempted to intervene, issuing official decrees to ban Hezbollah's military activity and expel Iranian operatives from the country. But the Lebanese armed forces are entirely unable to enforce these policies against Hezbollah's entrenched and heavily armed military apparatus. Domestic government decrees are just as meaningless as international court rulings when faced with active combatants. Bankrupted European courtrooms stand in stark contrast to burning Middle Eastern battlefields. The tools of international arbitration are broken. The United States, Israel, and Hezbollah are all operating under a shared understanding. Kinetic force is the only remaining geopolitical currency. The era of institutional conflict mediation is over. 2026 marks a return to a historical norm where military might is the only law.